G'day there. Just wanted to share a bit of a perspective on gold because there's quite a few commentators over the last 3 or 4 months that have been calling an end to the bull run in gold, and I just want to offer a perspective that I think probably clarifies that. And I'm very much a gold bull, and I can't see any reason why this can't continue for a few more years yet. So we're looking here at a weekly chart of gold, and you can see that we had a pretty good run that started back in October of '08, basically when after the sell-off in the GFC. You can see it's maintained that trend line pretty well. The moving average is a 20 period moving average, so 26-week moving average. And you'll notice that whenever the price of gold got significantly away from that moving average, that we did get a reversion to the mean, and I've been talking about that on and off for the last few months through Top Stocks now. And it's just basically you know, a mathematical law and a law of financial markets that you do get reversions to the mean, and it does set up very tradable opportunities. So you can see every time the price got well away from the mean, it came back to it. It then had another spurt away, eventually came back to it, and then when it really took off here, started about July of last year and peaked out at 1920 in September. It had really got miles above the moving average, and so came back fairly hard. We then had a bounce. Again, we reverted back to the mean. We overshot it to the downside, which is pretty normal, came back to the trend line, and now we've just been basically, the oscillations either side of that moving average have been getting smaller and smaller as the triangle forms over the last few months. Now, my view is that the fundamentals would definitely support a move, a breakout to the upside, and I just wanted to provide a perspective on what happened in the 1970s, just as an alternative way of looking at things. So just a reminder, this is only general information only. So in the 1970s, as everyone knows, there was one heck of a bull market, and gold rose across that decade from $35 to $850. But I think a lot of people have maybe didn't ever know or forgot that in the middle of that, in 1975, gold actually fell by 50% from $200 down to $100. Now at that time, you can just imagine all of the people that were saying that the 5-year run in gold was finished, you know, a 50% decline. And we haven't seen a 50% decline at this stage. And yet from 1975 to 1980, gold rose 800% from that point to the peak. So, you know, we've got a little 20% correction on our hands, and people are saying it's all over. It's just far too premature in my view. And turning to gold producers, which I guess is probably the main interest for traders in top stocks, gold producers did best in the last 2 years, so 1979, 1980, and maybe even 1981 after gold actually peaked. Gold producers did amazingly well, and gains of 2,000% and above were not at all uncommon in US gold producing stocks. I'm talking the juniors here, but nevertheless gold producing stocks. So it really does have merit in bearing that in mind. And so the question in my mind is, has anything changed for gold to continue the rise in the last 6 months or so? Has sovereign debt decreased? Have central banks stopped printing money? Has China stopped accumulating gold like there's no tomorrow? Have they stopped encouraging their citizens to accumulate gold? You know, the answer to all those questions is no. And compared to the 1970s, the level of indebtedness, the level of money printing is just far and away worse now. So I think the circumstances for gold now are far, far stronger than they were in the latter half of the 1970s, because all of this money printing and stimulus is ultimately got to feed through into inflation. So as I showed on the chart, gold still holding the long-term trend line. This is just a bit of a minor pullback. It's still playing out. We had 34 months upwards. It's not unusual for this to be spending 6 to 12 months going effectively sideways in a big consolidation before it moves off again. And I'm convinced that the undervaluation of gold stocks to physical gold will correct itself, and when it does, I think it'll be something similar to the 1970s. It'll do it with one heck of a rush. So I just thought I'd share that perspective with you, and hope it's helpful. Cheers.